Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to another new car day. Terrible habit at this point. So as you know, I bought the Lexus for 1400 quid, which is the cheapest GS300 in the UK. Got a cracking deal on that. And then I swapped it out for a high mileage Mercedes C220 CDI Estate W204. And I had that for a little while. I found out there was a few little issues with the gearbox, EGR, that kind of thing. It needed a little bit of work since it was such a high mileage car, about 185k. So I needed to do some work on it. Wasn't really interested because I wasn't using it, so I wanted it to go to a good home. So I put it up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I wasn't looking for a new car, I was just looking for potentially some money for a project for the channel or something like that, but something piqued my interest when I got a message in my inbox about an E92. Now, this isn't the perfect example of a car. If you're subscribed to Talksteer on YouTube, you'll know that he has just got himself a 325D, which he said was the cheapest in the UK. Well, I challenge you, good sir, because this one was definitely the cheapest in the UK, but I guess I didn't really pay for it. So let's get into that. But sorry, mate, I know it's a bit of a copycat, but totally unintentional, even the spec. So without further ado, let's skip to the cinematics and then I'll give you a walk around of the car. So here she is then, a 2007 pre-LCI E92 Coupe, and this is just a 320D, but it is pretty much the first in the line of production with the newer N47 engine, so it's the slightly newer block than the one that predates this, which is a good thing, although the early engines did suffer with timing chain issues, which supposedly has been done on this one, but there's a slight noise coming from the engine that would kind of say potentially otherwise. And also, my concern is that I can't find that in the service history, although it does have full service history, which is good. The big downside of this car is it is a Category S car, so there has been at some point some sort of structural damage to the car. But I've had a good look around it, and I think until it goes up on a ramp, I won't actually be able to tell you where or how, because it is a really straight car. There's nothing really dents or scrapes or anything on the bodywork, apart from a tiny one on the front bumper. But it is really clean. I can't see anything that kind of points to the fact that it's been crash repaired, so it probably was something fairly minor, and if not, then it has been repaired really well. But yeah, effectively I just swapped this for the Merc. He needed a bigger car for his family and he was getting rid of this, and I just offered him a few hundred quid on top just to help out with the service cost that needed doing on the Merc. So in total I paid £1,600 for this, which is indeed the cheapest running E92 in the country. I even looked on like the scabby side of Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree, and all the ones in that price range were like heavily crash damaged or completely not working, you know, blown engine, all that kind of thing. And this one has done 118,000 miles and has a full service history, mostly from BMW as well. And it is quite a nice spec. So it's the M Sport with the M Sport bumpers. It's got the 19-inch M Sport wheels, which I think look really, really smart actually. these are a little bit more grown up. I used to like the 5 twin spoke wheels, but I actually think these look a little bit more grown up on the car, and it is a little bit more M3-ish. Also, this particular one has had the side repeaters modded, so if I lock and unlock the car, they've got these. Do they look nice? Do they look cheap? I don't really know, but I do kind of like the black finish. It kind of blends them in with the car a bit better. But what is nice is it does have the adaptive xenon angel eyes, which I do think needs an upgrade personally to some white LEDs. Let me know what you think. If you think that's something that would be good, I will do that, because these I think look a bit dated on a silver car, especially when the puddle lights in the door handles are LED as well. And of course it's got the pre-LCI rear lights, which I don't mind at all. It's been debadged, and you can tell it's the newer engine by the oval exhaust tip as well, which could do with a bit of a cleaning up, but I don't really mind these tail lights. I think the newer LED ones potentially sometimes date the car even more, just on the basis that, you know, they're not like the most modern style LEDs, they're kind of the slightly older ones. So yeah, as I say, 118,000 miles. It isn't auto, which may be unfortunate. I'm not really too sure. Decide as you wish whether you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing. The auto box is the older 6-speed ZF, which is actually not too bad. It's a little bit slow at times, but it's not the end of the world. It's got the black leather interior, which is really nice, with the M Sport seats, and these have the electric adjustment with the electric lumbar support as well, which is really cool. I've never really had much to do with BMW. Like, I've never owned one, so, and also being the pre-LCI, it's not got the iDrive system. It's just got the very basic BMW Professional infotainment. But yeah, cabin space is pretty decent for this class of car, I feel, and it's quite nice condition in here. Like, all the leather is in really good shape. BMW leather does tend to wear quite nicely, I think, because it is kind of harder stuff. You've also got on this side the quirky cup holders. There's one there, and there's one there. Not quite Saab, but not bad either. That one I've just noticed is completely broken, so that's interesting, but never mind about that. You've got the climate control. As I say, it's an auto. The previous owner has thankfully left me loads of McDonald's vouchers and change and a nice pen. And in here, some ketchup, which is good, and a auxiliary port and all that good stuff as well. So yeah, nice inside, black with a black headliner. One thing I do need to really get sorted is this door. The hinge is rocking, so it makes a horrible noise when you open it, but that's something I can get sorted out. And the steering wheel is a little bit crusty in here as well. Like, I really like the thickness of these BMW wheels, and it's really nice squidgy materials as well, but up the top it's all worn and crusty. So maybe, and also all this is peeling as well. Some people just take that off and wrap it, but I think probably a new wheel is in order for this one, to be honest, to make it up to scratch. I always thought that BMW interiors get quite dated, but in this specification I don't think it looks too bad, to be honest. I think they just kept the design around for a little bit too long, but I'm overall quite happy with it. I think it is a really nice place to be once you're in there. I find it to be a little bit more comfortable than the Mercedes, not in terms of actual seat comfort, but in terms of just the environment that you're in, the way it makes you feel sitting in it. It's a bit more snug being a coupe. The seats hug you a little bit more. And the kind of the orange BMW lighting is nice and warm in the evening. Nice traditional parking brake, and unfortunately there's the foam's going a bit green in there, so it's showing its age, but overall it's in quite tidy shape in here, despite the little stains and stuff here and there. But I've not had the car detailed at all in any way, shape or form. It's literally just as it came to me, and it starts and drives nice and sweet. So let's get inside. The BMW key system is a bit like in Lucy's Mini, where you just pop it in, foot on the brake, engine start. So it's coming up saying it's requiring service. It doesn't have any service information for the last sort of 5,000 miles or so, so it's probably due one. But yeah, it's not too bad at all. The only thing that is really wrong with it that I can tell is it's got some really squeaky brakes, which probably are just old pads, and they've got plenty of meat left on them, but they just squeak at low speed. So that's that. Let's give her a little rev. It is warmed up. So there's a little bit of a knock at the sort of really high end, and you do notice under heavy load there's kind of like a rattly sound. I'll try and get a clip of it and pop it in. But that seems to be the only sort of mechanical issues that I found. The gearbox is lovely and sweet. I actually quite like this auto gear lever. It's got a sport mode with manual here. There's no paddles on the steering wheel, unfortunately, but it's not something I really use anyway. I do definitely think this engine would be slightly better with the manual box, just on the basis that you can have a bit more control over it and utilise the power a bit more. So this one, being the later model, is 174 horsepower, I believe it is. You can see there the xenons in action, which are really nice. Once you've got the LEDs in there, I think they'll look really good. Yeah, I think these remap really well though, so if the engine is actually as good as I think it is, then it might be something that we look at getting done. But it does run pretty nicely. There's nothing too sinister sounding from it until you really start to rag it. As I say, there's nothing in there that says that the chain has been done, but the previous owner did say that it has. Worryingly, the OBD port is exposed, which isn't usually a good sign, but I've just popped the bonnet, so let's take a look under there. The only MOT advisory on this was what they call slight oil leak, but to be honest, because it's a BMW, I would be more worried if it didn't have an oil leak. So there you can see the slightly newer style engine being one of the very early ones. There is definitely kind of signs that there's been a little bit of oil here and there, but nothing too sinister. And under here, like, to my untrained eye, I can't see anything that really screams structural damage. Certainly all the panels under here seem pretty straight. There doesn't look to be anything that's like brand newly replaced that kind of stands out to me compared to anything else. Normally you'll notice that like one part is much newer and shinier, and that kind of thing. There's no kind of like crinkles in the actual chassis down here, and the braces and things like that. So, you know, I'm not too concerned. The only thing that I'm worried about is the kind of the slight metallic sound from the engine under load, but that might be something that is just resolved by a bit of a service and a bit of love. So we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I paid effectively 1,600 quid for this car, so I cannot complain at all. And I really actually like the spec. I don't really like silver cars normally, but this one is really pretty. And it does make me think maybe I'd quite like one of these in a slightly higher spec, because I remember when I was at school, one of my mates actually had one of these. It was a 320D with the 5 twin spoke wheels in white. He turned up with it brand new. His dad had bought it for him, and we was all so jealous because it was such a cool thing to have at the time. And I think the design of it has actually aged really, really well. I think these do look a bit more smart than the equivalent Mercedes. So yeah, there it is, guys. That is my new, to me, super duper cheap, and maybe not the best example in the world, but let's be honest, for that money we can't grumble at all. E92 320D Auto. Little bit slow, could do with a little bit of love, but I'm actually really chuffed with it. So please do let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So if you've got any suggestions for me at all, anything that you'd like to see on this car in particular, I'd love to do some coverage on it before I end up moving it on to a new owner. So do let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.